Once we have that food and we're standing there getting ready to fix it. I'm sitting at the table, I've got my Bible open, I've got my tablet ready. I have to start reading it. Sounds so simple, but it's a major step in the process. Explain to everyone why that is so important. And we call it observation.
We call it observation, and I think it's important because, at least in one aspect, there's a tendency to want to start and end all in the first step. We're going to read it, and we're going to make it our own.
Yeah.
And to me, this is saying this, and I think this means that, and this over here, and we start to put some things in there. And the first thing I would say is when we're observing the text, we recognize that there was a human author writing under the divine leading of the Holy Spirit, the divine guidance of the Holy Spirit, the inspiration, and they were writing to a specific person or people, group of people, at a certain place and time, and none of those are us. In other words, if we look at Paul writes to a letter to the church in Rome, the book of Romans.
Yes.
There is an immediate context, and what we need to understand is what's Paul saying to the Romans
in that century.
In that century, knowing that God, in his mercy and grace, has made the book of Romans has a sense of timelessness about it that we'll be able to do something with understanding what Paul was saying to that, or why Matthew was writing his gospel, focusing on the Jewish people and so on.
So we keep in mind when we begin to read who's writing this, or who wrote this, and to whom was he writing. Yeah. And then we begin to observe the words. We're searching the scriptures. Yes. Just like Ballard searched for the Titanic over 14 years.
Wow.
And one day, great day in his life, he found it there at the bottom of the North Atlantic. Yeah. He was searching for something. Now, we may not know what it is. We will find. He knew what he was searching for. We're searching for an understanding of these words. So I would say, take your time.
Yeah.
A major mistake made by most new Christians is trying to read through really quickly and think there's something great about finishing this whole letter in one sitting. Yeah. It's 4 chapters and I can read it in 10, 12 minutes. I got it. Yeah. No, you have nothing. All you've done is spend 10 to 12 minutes reading words. Yeah. But you can look at something and not really see what's there. My son said to me as we were following a FedEx truck a number of years ago, we're in his pickup, and he says, "You see that arrow?" And I go, "Arrow." I see the truck. I see FedEx. He said, "Dad, look at FedEx." And I looked at it. I'm honest. I did not see an arrow. He said, "Look between the E and the X." Slow learner here. Took me a little while, and I go, E and I got it. Now all I can see when I see FedEx is the arrow. But that's their logo. Yeah. I'd missed it for years. Yeah. Isn't that amazing? I've had people say, I have read John 3:16 through 18 since I was a child and was able to read. I never knew that's what it was saying. Yeah. Yeah. There's an example.
I think something that someone new to the Bible, or even someone who's had some experience, when we're looking for meaning and we're observing the text, one of the challenges, and this will go back to the genre conversation we had a little bit earlier, one of the challenges is that, let's go back to Romans. We were talking about that briefly, that all of the meaning in Romans is not found just in Romans. In other words, you will find some of the meaning of Romans when you study Paul's life in the narrative, in the history recorded in the book of Acts. Yeah. Yeah. And so we can be reading diligently. Let's say we read that book. Every day we're going to read that 4-chapter book or the 16 chapters of Romans.
Yes.
But just reading Romans won't fully help you to understand. And this is why observation is so important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so a book like Acts can help us learn about Paul, who wrote the letter to the Romans. As a matter of fact, Acts will even mention occasions when Paul is in Rome. And that can help us to begin to
orient where he was,
what was going on
at that time. We'll get to that part in a moment. After we've begun to observe, we write things down. I do this every week. I'll write down as simple as who's speaking, what does it seem he's saying, and why would he mention that same phrase 3 times? Or really, I've learned over the years that's God's way of underscoring. When he mentions something 3 times, he's not trying to fill in space. he's saying, pay attention.
Yeah.
That's an exclamation point. So I observe that. Repetition. I observe contrast. I observe things that amplify what was said earlier, and this is what he meant by that. And that is all part of my observation.